Didn't ask you how many times you'd been married.
0.
And I've been married twice. The first one for about 20 years, and the second one now for almost 26 years. Why does that have anything to do with my podcast? Well,
Man Up with Mark. You may agree with him, and again, you may not.
with that experience and the life that I've lived through those two marriages and through life in general, will help me expound my experience upon you when it comes to all of my upcoming podcasts. Now, as for all of my children out there, they're probably going to get upset and angry and sad and mad that I'm talking about this. But you know what I say?
Man up now.
My first marriage was back in 1975. I married my high school sweetheart. Yep, we went to high school together. We graduated. She went off to go get her 2 years associate's degree, and I went off to go find myself. Smoke dope.
Plus the herb, yo.
Drink lots of alcohol. Play with all my buddies. And about a year after high school, obviously a year after, would mean that we graduated in 1974. In 1975, we married. I was 19 years old at the time. Soon to turn 20, but still 19. The marriage was fun. Her family was cool. Loved her mom and dad. Her sisters and brother, they were okay as far as her siblings. But we all got along good. Had a good marriage. Coped with life. Created 3 new living beings into this world. 2 girls and a boy. And after about 20 years of marriage and struggling from this job to that job, struggling to pay rent, struggling to pay utilities, struggling to find where we're going to find our next dime bag, important things like that. After about 20 years, we went our separate ways. Why that happened? There probably could be many reasons, many excuses. But for right now, we're just going to say we grew apart. We fell out of love. We couldn't stand the sight of each other. We'll end it with that. But the good thing that came out of that marriage were the 3 kids. Great kids. Jessica, Andrea, and Mark. Through that marriage, though, I had many different kinds of jobs. Many different things that I did. I never stayed hooked up to any one type of work or any one type of career. I was still trying to find myself. And maybe that was one of the reasons why my wife decided to go bye-bye. I just couldn't hook on to anything. Made money. We were able to pay the bills. Yes, like I said earlier, we did struggle, but we plugged along. But I did everything from, driving truck to bending nails as a carpenter, working in a print shop, to working for a marketing company as their graphic artist. I taught for a graphic art school. I just did all sorts of different things. It'd last a year or so for each one. I was a maintenance man for a commercial property company. Literally, I think the 20 years of marriage, I probably had 40 jobs. I couldn't keep a job sometimes for 6 months. It wasn't because I got fired. It just was because I got bored. I wanted to do something else. So I'd move on to whatever came up next. That's how that first marriage went. Again, we had some good times, we had some bad times. We had times.
But we had the best of times.
Saw life go before us in many different ways. It's all the things that happen when you're young. Again, I was 19. I lasted almost 20 years with her. What would that make me? 39? Hell, I was still young after 20 years of marriage. After that, I was single for a few years. Kind of bombed around and, sowed my oats, trying to figure out what's next in my life. Another gal fell into my life. She is my wife now. Her name is Sandy, and she puts up with me on a daily basis. With her came her 3 children, and how about that? We actually created a real-life Brady Bunch.
Became the Brady Bunch.
I had 2 girls and a boy. She had 2 boys and a girl. So there you are. We became the dysfunctional Brady Bunch. We didn't have a Marcia. Yeah, but her mother's name is Alice. You know what? Speaking of which, my first mother-in-law's name was Alice. Oh, that's pretty weird. Any rate, so been married to Sandy now for almost 26 years. It'll be 26 years this coming February. And we've lived life for the most part. I've been pretty steady with my work until I retired here recently. I pretty much stayed in the construction industry.
Construction? That's awesome.
After my first wife and I parted ways, I kind of got into more construction work. I did a little bit of it back when we were together, when my first wife and I were back together. Speaking of which, I keep calling her my first wife. Her name was Cheryl, okay? Any rate, when we were married, I did all sorts of crazy different jobs. But near the end of the marriage, I kind of was honing in on the construction industry. And by the time I got into my relationship with my now wife, I was really involved in a lot of commercial construction, commercial maintenance, and in getting work through a lot of different commercial real estate companies and management companies and this and that. So I was kind of steady Eddie for these last 26 years in the construction industry. So that's what I kind of dropped out of here since I retired. During our 26 years of being together, actually, we've been together for 28 or 29 because I started dating her a couple of years before we got married.
Live in sin for a bit, Dad.
Any rate, we've lived life, gone places, done things. It's been good. We've learned a lot and lived a lot. Our income has been a lot steadier. We've been able to pay the bills better and better. We're doing well. We raised 6 kids. They now have kids of their own, so we're now grandparents. One of the grandchildren went out and married a gal, and now he has children. So that really tells you how old of a fart I am. I have a grandson who's old enough to get out there and get married himself and create his own offspring, and they have 2 children. So we are now great-grandparents. So we got all sorts of stuff happening. With all of our kids, let's see if I can remember all of their names. It's Andrea, it's Jessica, it's Mark, it's Stephanie, it's Chris, it's Nick. There we go. There'll be a test later. Which 3 were from my first marriage and which 3 are from the second marriage? Huh? I want to see that in the comments. So, at any rate, there you go. A little info about me, my marriages, my life, my experiences with work. Give you a little bit better feel of who I am and what I am. And as I start talking about stuff as these podcasts go on, maybe you'll kind of understand. Oh, yeah. He talked about this whole thing at the beginning of who he is and what he is and why he is and where he came from out of my mother's womb.
Your mom.
And where he's going. I know, that's a tacky joke, isn't it? There you go. That'll give you a clue. If you would please like, subscribe, ring that bell. That would be great. Leave comments. You know what? Better yet, leave me comments and suggestions and ideas to talk about on my email, mark at Man Up with Mark. And again, like always, you can go to my website, manupwithmark.com, and check out what's been going on. I hope to, as the episodes roll and the future goes on, that we'll be adding things to the website. Things like merchandise.
Merch, baby! Merch!
You know, you gotta have your merch. Wouldn't you guys out there love to have a Man Up with Mark coffee mug? How about a Man Up with Mark t-shirt? Come on, that'd be awesome. That's coming in the future. But at any rate, for now, it's been good chatting with you, and we'll see you.
If you have a question or comment, email Mark at manupwithmark.com.